Hey guys, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means. Let's get into another handful of horror. So on today's episode of Handful of Horror, I'm going to be going over 5 facts that you may or may not know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Number 1, a family film. No, I don't mean the Sawyer family per se, I mean your family. The director of the film wanted to make things as tame as possible so that he can have a PG rating and everybody can enjoy the film together as a family. If you go back and really watch the film, there's only about 5 deaths in it. 6 if you count the armadillo at the beginning of it. But there really wasn't a whole lot of blood, guts, and gore that you would think would be in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre if you'd never seen it before. It's really not that bad. They really don't show a whole lot of anything. Number 2, frustrated Christmas shopping. The director of the film in 1972 actually got inspiration for the film through Christmas shopping. He started getting frustrated with the amount of people that were in the store, and he came across a row of chainsaws and thought, hey, I know I can get through this crowd real quick. I've thought the same thing. Number 3, miserable family dinner. I think we can all say that we've been to at least 1 or 2 of these in hopes to never have to do it ever again. And in this movie, there was no exception to it. The actor who played Grandpa in the film was so unhappy with how long it took to put on prosthetics and makeup that he downright refused to go through it again. So all of his scenes at the dinner, right there in the house, were all shot in 1 day. Over 24 hours of filming, and all they got was that little piece of footage. Kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of, you know, some of the stuff that happens in filmmaking. It could take sometimes 2 days just to get a scene down. That's a lot. That is a lot. Ugh. Well, he got his way. Number 4, and this is a big one right here because Texas Chainsaw Massacre was a very, very low budget independent film. So things got a little real and things got really dangerous from time to time. The chainsaw in the movie was absolutely real, teeth and all. They used it in multiple scenes without the teeth on, but the ones where they needed a really good close-up shot or a cutting scene, they left the teeth on. So it was very, very dangerous if he was to fall, get too close. Also the scene where he's in the field running with the chainsaw, that's all real. He's got a mask on, can't really see, it's dark, you're in this big field with all this stuff around you. I don't know if I would have signed up for that. I have other things to do that I'd like to get to. The hammer. The hammer was very much real as well. And that was kind of scary too. That was so dangerous because he had all the prosthetics and makeup on his face. He couldn't really see very well. So if he was to drop that hammer in a swing or miss and get them in the head, he really could have done some serious damage, if not killed somebody. Let me continue with more danger because danger's fun. The scene where Grandpa is cutting Sally's finger so that he can feed on her blood. That was actually real too. Her screaming, her crying, the finger being cut, the knife itself were all real. Originally it was not supposed to be real. The blade of the knife was actually taped up, but it's hot, and believe it or not, they actually used animal blood in this. Like, there was so much real stuff. They actually used real animal blood, and when they went to go cut her finger with the safety blade, if you will, the blood had coagulated in the bag and the tubings because it was so hot in Texas summer and they couldn't get the blood to pump through. So out of frustration of this prop not working, Gunther, actually, who plays Leatherface, actually grabbed her by the hand and cut his finger herself. So her crying and, you know, like the tear coming down her face, that's all real. The only thing that I have to question is whether or not Grandpa really sucked the blood out of that finger. Maybe it was the other finger, I don't know, but that that's really kind of, I think that's more gross than using animal blood. Because you're consuming someone else's gut. Not good. I'm good. No. That they only had like maybe 10 real bones on set to use. Everything else was actually real. During the 80s, if you guys remember Poltergeist, they used actual like anatomy props. Anatomy, is that what you call it? An anatomy prop? It's a skeletal. It's a skeletal. It's a person that used to be in skin and now they're dead and they donated this shit to science. And now you're looking at the shit and you're figuring out what's what. I'm gonna stop now. Okay. So yeah, even the skeleton was real. All the bones, you know, in the 80s, it was a thing. With Poltergeist, they even used real skeletons, but they didn't tell the crew because they didn't want them to get freaked out. Yeah, I mean, they even used dead animal carcasses as well in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It was a very authentic movie. I will say that. So all that blood you see on set, all that blood all over them that's like caked on them, that's real blood. So in the scene where Grandpa has to like suck the blood out of her finger, they cut her finger open. Like I said, that took an entire day to film that. Hot Texas summer, no AC in this old building. You're wearing the same stinky, smelly clothes. You have animal carcasses everywhere. You have real blood everywhere. Things got really rank really quick. And a lot of the crew would actually take turns running to the window to get fresh air and a lot of times vomit because the smell was so horrific they just couldn't take it. Number 5, real life inspiration. Now, this person has been used for more than one fictional horror character, but this guy is legit the real Leatherface. A man that used to live a long time ago named Ed Gein was also known as the Butcher of Plainfield. I want to say it was in Ohio. Was it in Ohio? I don't know. It's been so long since I've read about this guy. Anyways, yeah, he wasn't really right in the head, and he was a serial killer, and his victims, mostly women, he liked to skin them and make belts and tablecloths and curtain lampshades and curtains and bodysuits and nipple belts and people leather chairs. At least you know it's not fake, right? It was the inspiration for him, as well as Norman Bates in Psycho, Buffalo Bill in Silence of the Lambs, and one of those characters from American Horror Story. I don't remember. He was the doctor in the asylum. I forget. You guys know. Anyway. So that's 5 facts that you may or may not know about the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Obviously, there's going to be a bajillion of them out there. If there is one that I missed, please put it in the comments below and I'll make sure to read it. Thank you guys for joining. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Handful of Horrors. I will see you guys on the next episode. Until then, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and follow button so you don't miss another episode of Any Last Words.